Longtime elementary school teachers, which of your former students surprised you the most by their adult life outcomes or personality? Number 1. I guess my mom might count since she's worked at the elementary school I attended since 1993. She recently told me about one of my elementary school classmates. I was actually pretty good friends with him, but I thought he was a bit slow? And apparently, he had been evaluated for learning disorders several times in early grade school. He just started a surgery fellowship at a prestigious hospital in Philadelphia. He definitely worked very hard in grade school and middle school. Now that I look back, he definitely sought out the smart kids in class and tried to befriend them and see how they thought. Number 2. There was a kid in my high school class who had severe dyslexia and acalculia, and although he clearly had a sharp mind when you spoke to him, it wasn't clear he was going to go far. His main interest back in school was blowing shit up and building bombs. He went off to mining school so that he could work with explosives. He got his PhD before I got my bachelor's, for building a robot that goes down mines and uses lasers to make a 3D map of the mine. The robot is doing a week's work for a surveying team in a couple of hours and without putting human lives at risk. He's charming, his wife and kids are charming, and he builds robots with frickin' lasers on them. Not bad for the kid who couldn't read and only cared about blowing shit up. Number 3. I was connected on social media with a former grade school teacher who shared a news article about a former student who got arrested for selling meth with an estimated worth of $500,000. Number 4. I have a friend who had mediocre grades as a kid because he had untreated ADHD. He was heavily bullied and had no social skills. He did badly on rote memory standardized tests which tested a broad area of topics. He's really good at math, not so much at languages. But as we got older, the tests got better and more specialized, so he had a perfect score for the university entrance exam and is now one of the top students there in computer science. Although he still has no social skills, so I guess you can't have everything. Number 5. I had no social skills and was way behind in grade 9. Dropped out that year, spent the rest of the time I should have been in high school fucking around. Now I'm in university taking a chemistry course and about to graduate with a BS in biology. My grades are good enough that I am seriously considering med school or law school. K-12 doesn't mean shit. It's not a fit for all people. Number 6. I teach English as a second language and I had a kid who spoke Arabic who barely could master English in the beginning, to be expected of course. Well, 8 years later he's on his way to being an astrophysicist. He came to school to find me last year to tell me, and I've never had a prouder moment teaching. He told me I was the only one who believed in him. Number 7. I've found that a lot of smart kids burn out in college or early in their career, and they decide they'd rather have a mediocre job that at least has a definite end. Sounds tragic, but let's compare using the most scientific method of sociological analysis available. Anecdotal experience. Story time. My brother graduated top of his class, got highly recommended to some very prestigious careers, ascended quickly up their ranks, and now his job is his life. Well, not exactly. He actually doesn't have enough life to give to what his job is asking for. He is always on call, always wrought with anxiety, always struggling to make at least a little time for his kids, but it seems the world saw his smarts and latched onto it voraciously. He is a constantly miserable wreck, and I don't envy him in the least. He did everything right. He excelled at every turn. And his reward for being the best and brightest is a life of never-ending servitude out of his control. On the other hand, I see my own friend who graduated top of his class, lots of prestigious career opportunities, and that was the end of that. He sold a fledgling hardware manufacturing business in college to move to Montana with his fiancée. He landed a job working 6 hours a day at some mining company's employee credit union as an IT supervisor. Even afforded him his own office. He set up their system 8 years ago, and only does intense computer work maybe 3 to 4 times a year. Most days, he sits in the back and plays games until a teller gets confounded by their computer's hibernation timeout, and calls him to come mouse jiggle it back awake. He was slated to be the next Silicon Valley billionaire, yet he only makes $25 an hour. But, quitting time is quitting time, and nobody gets to bother him before 10 or after 4. Every day, he goes home to his wife, they watch movies, they host tabletop gaming nights with friends, or they walk 2 miles down the town's only boulevard to get ice cream. And best of all, by thumbing his nose at the perceived opulence of some Silicon Valley hustle, he doesn't even pay California taxes. His professors might say he squandered his gifts, but I think he decided early on he would rather squander his potential than squander his own life. Their LinkedIn profiles might make it pretty clear who is the more successful person of the two. But my experience in being around them, and seeing how happy they are with their lives, tells a different story. Sometimes, the smart thing to do is discover that one's time and sanity is worth more than a fat paycheck, because even the fattest of paychecks are worthless if your job doesn't even let you enjoy your life off time. If you liked this video, please share it with your friends. Thank you for watching.